Hey guys, so I'm here today with Byron, the winner of the OTS Nexus event. There was what 58 of us there. Hey?
Yeah, for 58 days.
Fantastic, and you dominated. Well done on the win. It was a really good event. It wasn't. It was obviously quite. What can I say?
Competitive.
Yeah, very competitive. Yeah. So he's had some. Yes, definitely, and we had some of the best players, I think, in the country. Definitely some of the best players in Gauteng there, and you were able to, you were able to take it. But obviously,
what can I say?
No, not at all. You deserved it, dude. Yeah. So obviously, we're getting together today to talk about the event, a few other things like the meta within South Africa, the Johannesburg meta, some of the best decks at the moment, and also like some options for like what are good decks like meta wise, rogue wise, budget wise, etc. So we're gonna go through that together, and then just have a good chat about it.
Yeah, I know you yourself made a top 8 at the tournament.
Yeah.
So you were right up there, man.
I felt a lot more confident for the Dragon Town event, to be honest. Like playing through that event, I was like, okay, you know what, my deck is performing. This one, I was like, I barely scraped it through.
It shifted a lot as well.
It shifted a hell of a lot. Yeah. And I think, like clearly there was a lot of how do I say, things were obsolete from the time board was released. So there was like a lot of changes that needed to happen.
Between DPE and the birds being added to the metagame.
Crazy. Even sold on its own. So, and then obviously all of the other meta cards like Small World and all of this stuff, they made a big impact. Yeah.
Seriously meta defining cards in that set.
Definitely. Cool. So let's maybe start off by covering the event itself. How was your experience at the event?
It was really, really good. I must be honest, I think I made some good meta calls going into the event.
Definitely, yeah.
Like I thought players would be straight up onto that meta like aggressively, and people were.
Yeah.
Like I can't say I had any rogue matchups over the course of the day, so it was pretty competitive.
Yeah.
People were super friendly as well. It was like a great event. I can't say there were any like judge disparities or people getting upset. Like the community was awesome. Shout out to Andrew for hosting the event. You did an amazing job. Yeah, you absolutely slayed it, man.
Crazy, man. And he ran the entire thing pretty much by himself. I mean, he obviously had other judges and so on, but fantastic.
Yeah, he nailed it. Definitely nailed it. Deserves like the biggest shout out of that day without a doubt.
Definitely. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yeah, cool. And how was like your matchups and stuff?
So for my matchups, I should get them written down just because you never remember anything.
Definitely.
Round 1 was PK. Round 2 I played Drytron. That was my only loss to the tournament.
Okay.
Drytron's in I think a very strong place at the moment, just because hand traps in general aren't as good as they used to be.
Yes.
Like just because every board's committing to like Skype plays and EPE plays, you want to have cards like Droplets and Chalice to deal with the skies, but like obviously those with the exception of Droplets, like those kind of cards aren't great into Drytron.
Yes. So
it sets them up for like a really, really strong turn 1 FTK.
Yep.
Just because nobody has main deck answers to them, and then even the side deck now is not respecting Drytron as much. Like nobody's really on the cycle readers anymore. Nobody's really on they've started making room for like the Sword Soul side and stuff. So I think Drytron is like a really strong meta contender, but at the same time, it's always had the problems it always has. Like it can't run a lot of hand traps itself. It's like main deck space is really tight. So if it goes second into boards, it's like it's also you're kind of getting yourself FTK'd by this new deck. So if you win the die roll, you're guaranteed to win. If you lose the die roll, you gotta up your battle.
Yeah.
Especially with like Skype locking around at the moment, not having room to really run enough outs to respect those kind of decks.
Yes.
But yeah, so my round 2 was Drytron, just a swift 2-0, shout out to Bruce. Round 3 was Heroes with Phoenix Enforcer. Maybe I suppose that kind of does count as a rogue match of the day, but Phoenix Enforcer is so strong as a card. Definitely changes the way the deck's played.
Definitely.
Round 4 was Sword Soul. Round 5 was Dragon Link. Round 6 was you actually with the Virtual World.
Yeah.
Had a good battle there.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
And then for top 8, the first round was Sword Soul. Second round Drytron. This one I managed to win. And then I played Dragon Link in the finals.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. So, like, which was your I guess, toughest matchup? Or,
both of the Drytrons.
The Drytrons, yeah.
The first one is a 2-0 and really feel like I could do anything. Like going first or going second. It's just the way I was playing live to automatic the event, and the deck doesn't really have answers to the amount of playthrough Drytron has.
Yes.
So I managed you have to start like top making like seriously strong hand traps for that matchup to be able to beat them or hopefully break. So the 2-0 there wasn't really much I could do, and then fortunately in the finals I managed to win a game by hard drawing. So I was sliding the artifact package.
Yes.
And instead of drawing Sanctum, I drew Skies. But fortunately, the twins can pop your own cards. So
cool.
I
Nice.
managed to pop the Skies and then win that, and then that gave me. But that's kind of like that's I think my problem with the way that deck runs into mine is like to win it you have to cheese it. You don't you don't say I'll pick 5 of my best engine cards versus 5 of your best engine cards and then play it out like your players. Like
Definitely.
Definitely. That's it, exactly. So whereas my deck like has really good matchups into decks like Sword Soul, like it grinds really well against them. Like there's a lot of like matchups this one that like felt almost easy, but like really really strong matchups. But it struggles with the Drytron matchup at the moment. Which is strange. Like Drytron's definitely not in the best place right now, just for like the aforementioned reasons. Like it also struggles to play through the boards, and other decks are setting up more consistently, and other decks have like a lot more flex slots.
Yes.
But like it doesn't mean you can disrespect the deck. It's like one of those cases as soon as everyone sides up all your hand traps, Drytron's great, and then everyone puts their hand traps back in and Drytron's the worst, but suddenly other decks get to do better. So
and definitely with that deck, I think like even if they're going second and you're not able to like full combo or like put up enough how can I say
interruptions.
Like enough obstacles for them, you just play through it. They have like
Zeus access.
Yes.
That deck has a lot of nonsense cards.
Exactly. You go like 4 negates and they're like, oh, I have 2 monsters. Okay, Plate, and then
I think with the exception of the fact that it can't play like a lot of flex slots, as far as like pure engines go, it's probably the strongest like pure engine of it.
It's very resilient for an engine.
Exactly. Like you're seeing 5. Like the only thing that could maybe compare is Virtual World, where like seeing 5 names makes your deck really good. Maybe not in the same level. So like you can,
if you have another target, maybe.
But I think the deck's played a lot of interruptions if you see names, whereas like a lot of other decks, like we'll wait till you open 5 Alistairs and tell you what your hand board is going to be.
Definitely. In terms of like the South African meta at the moment, how do you feel about that?
So we actually had the results from the tourney, which were the most popular decks, I think. I'll just bring it up as well over here. But the most popular deck at the 58 player event was Virtual World. Which actually, at first I was a bit confused, but it actually makes a lot of sense. It's without a doubt the cheapest, most competitive deck you can play right now. Like it's definitely to that tier 1.5 rating. Like you can definitely win tournaments, steal games if you're open. If the deck doesn't betray you and you don't break the deck and do like a lot of damage.
And the deck betrays you a lot.
You can also, it's one of those decks, sometimes you see hands you're first, sometimes you see hands just table 500 and fighting for your life.
I was quite interested. Like there was actually 3 players with the D hero package. So obviously with Enforcer, etc. Malicious.
Gives you a bit more playthrough.
So it's a couple extra level 6s and a couple. Denia is level 3. I mean, you can use that as material as well. So
You're the Virtual World expert.
I haven't actually tested that version. But that was quite interesting to see like quite a few guys doing that.
But so I think that definitely made sense as the most represented deck, just because of how strong it is, but also how affordable it is. So players can, any new player can pick up that deck for like whatever, 1-2, 1-3, and start playing it.
And obviously,
So that's-
it was reprinted very recently as well. So
Oh yeah,
like
the
everything's
Limited
pretty
gave
much
you access to like
yeah.
most of the cards. Yeah, a lot of the other
Available.
cards people had in their collections already.
Yes,
Like the
definitely.
Vermilions and those have all been sitting in bulk. So
Definitely.
yeah, people were definitely able to. So I think it was also a great idea, like as a deck, if you're a new player and want to get into the game. It's not an easy deck to learn, but like definitely rewarding if you do learn it, and you can
Yes.
definitely compete toe to toe with any of the best decks of the format. So
Yeah,
something to
definitely.
look out for. The next most popular deck was actually Sword Soul with 6 players.
Yeah.
Also kind of expected because there was like a lot of hype around this event, and it was one of the first events where it's legal.
Yes.
So people were obviously like keen to test out their their expensive Sword Soul decks, whip them out and see what they could do. But yeah, the deck's also very strong. I think it's quite a meta defining deck, but not necessarily because of how strong it is, just kind of because of the boards it sets up. Like it's kind of like, you know, like Salomon Great,
Yes. Yes.
when they used to set up like Raw and Rage, and suddenly back row decks weren't viable anymore.
Yes,
You wanted
yes.
to play Geist, and you'd like set your 2 strikes, and then Salomon Great would just end phase pop 2. Like Blackout has that same effect. Like
Definitely.
it really makes it harder to play a lot of different kinds of rogue decks, because that deck will always be there to punish it. Like mine will never be as good. Yeah, like decks like Geist are going to be worse. Any decks that rely like on back row or turn setups get like punished by that deck.
Yeah.
And obviously the army, so they're super consistent, super strong at what they do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the ceiling's quite low in the deck.
Yes, definitely.
Like their best board
You
and their
see-
worst board is usually very, very
Very
similar.
similar. Yeah, they're not like making like a hell of a lot. Like it's not Drytron level, 6
No, not at
negates
all.
and
Exactly.
follow
So
up,
they kind of
etc.
like, it's like a very strong, I want to say, mid-range deck where
Yeah.
they like trade card for card, like
Yes.
interaction.
And I'm
But,
quite surprised about that deck's like hand management. Like I've seen, like Rob, like play some of his games and so on, and he'll go like turn 1, going first, 2 or 3 synchros, it's Baron or
Yeah, it's like
Grandmaster,
Baron.
etc. Maybe
Yeah,
a blackout
exactly.
set,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he'll have 4 cards in hand after that, with the shooter
sure,
and
for sure.
graveyard.
Yeah,
So it's
no,
like,
the 10 setup's
yeah,
really good. It's definitely.
it's pretty good,
I
like grind
It's
game.
definitely, I think, again, a very strong deck, and I think it's one of those decks in a format that stomp out rogue.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like if you're playing something that's a bit like, it's like sometimes happens, you get formats where there's really strong decks, but you can like punish them with like rogue. Like Dice topped a lot of the last remote dual invitationals, and they were on
Yes.
their floodgates, like their floodgates. They were on the rivalries. They were playing the strikes. They like went to like heavy trap builds, less hand traps, and they can get away with that kind of stuff, but they can't at the moment. Like it's definitely one of those format defining decks. It says you don't get to play slow rogue decks at the moment. And I think it reminds me a lot of Salad. I think Salad at full power might have been a little better just because it set up its own grind a lot better. Like this deck doesn't have any, unless you're like on the and there's like a debate between the 10U stuff and not the 10U stuff, but without the 10U stuff you don't have like any inherent grind in the deck. There's no like adding back the Gazelle at the end phase. Like you need your Baroness to survive a turn, and that's not happening against like
Yeah. I
any
also
kind
feel
of
like
big decks and stuff.
the 10 years helped them play through a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah,
So,
the 10 years
yeah.
is definitely very good. Definitely the stronger of the variants, I think. I think in the OCG they prefer the other variant, but Maxi is a card, so
Fair, yeah.
always different formats.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
then I think the next most popular deck was Dragon Link. Yeah, I don't know about like too much to say. It's like definitely one of the better combo decks. Like Sealed Hiding Pass is sometimes an FTK,
Yeah.
and the deck can do so much more than that. Also, I think people again aren't on as many main deck hand traps as they're like learning to respect like Scythe locks and the DPE plays, and so that also lets like Dragon Link really start to like flourish a bit. And also the hand traps they are on are usually
Yes.
a bit worse into the Dragon Link matchup.
And I think like Dragon Link, because they kind of allowed to play the nub gamma, because that gives them a little bit of an edge as well. Like I mean, over the last, call it like 2 months or so, we've seen like Dragon Link kind of like we haven't seen many of those decks, and then all of a sudden, at the moment, it seems like they're kind of a bit more viable because they can play all of that.
For sure. But also, I think a lot of people are on like the imperm veilers because that's
Mm.
like biggest range of matchups it covers. Like
Definitely.
it's very, very decent into the sword soul matchup.
Definitely, yeah.
Decreases the number of negates in the virtual world matchup. Like it's like very strong cards. Like stops the tri brigade stuff.
Mm.
But Dragon Link doesn't care about those cards. Like
Yes.
they'll play through it. So like you basically just hand opening yourself for one when you see those.
Yes.
Like unless their hands are really, really bad, they really like do have the potential to play through a lot, and they set up quite strong boards. Like
Definitely, yeah.
definitely got to respect the deck as well.
Yes. Agreed.
I think that deck reaches a nice balance in what it can do with flex slots, as far as like combo goes. Cause like Drytron doesn't really have a lot of options for like if you start playing like 9 matchups, you start bricking on Drytron like aggressively.
Yeah.
But like Dragon Link really does have room because they've got so many like one card starters. Like they're like if like they usually want to see hands with like combos and extenders, but they can do it. That deck can do a lot of one card.
Yeah.
Like one card and 4 hand traps, they can set up full combo depending on what that card is.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, definitely like I think a more well-rounded combo deck. Not gonna say stronger because again the end board like Drytron still feels like an FTK Dragon Link still feels like it can be played through, but like definitely a more well-rounded combo deck.
Yeah, definitely.
Then the next most popular, which is such
Fight
a
up.
strong deck, flippin' Tri-Lyrisk. That deck is absolutely bonkers. Gosh.
Honestly, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I haven't played enough against that deck, but it feels kind of like Dry, in a way. Like it goes and it goes and it goes. Yeah. And then even if you hand trap it a few times, it's still a decent board that, and with you a couple of cards down in hand when you're starting your turn, like that's nothing to laugh about.
Personal opinion, I think we have a section for best decks of the format later. I'm not gonna say this, but it's definitely the best combo deck right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have the draw. It also has room for not a huge amount of room, but it's definitely got room for flex slots. It has hectic Zeus pressure going second. Like I'm talking 6 material Zeus's. That's absolutely vicious. It plays through and around hand traps because they always set up the F0 before they combo, so your nibs are dead. It's very, very, very strong deck. And the end board also feels very FTK-y. Like any special summon gets bounced, they've got Omnis. The only thing is the deck does play quite hard into, I suppose, if you're not on the Oath as well. I think everyone's gone to the Oath build now as well, so you can. But like your board breaking cards were quite decent into it, like your Dark Rulers and your. But now that they're on Oath as well.
Now you need 2 at a time.
Definitely makes it rougher for sure. But that was the next most popular deck, and then I think the only other one really worth shouting out would be the next 2, which would be Phantom Knights and Drytron, with the next most represented decks. Phantom Knights, you're gonna get absolutely bonkers when that Brave engine comes out. That deck's definitely gonna get quite a solid jump in like play rate and power. But even at the moment, very, very strong deck. Board is really well balanced. Doesn't play into like any card too much, like because they get the Fog Blades and the Monster Negates. You can't like Dark Ruler and then you start to play through 2 Fog Blades, and which is like a lot of decks like Birds and Drytron maybe can, but Sword Soul playing through 2 Fog Blades not easy. Like your hand needs to be quite strong. So same goes for like a lot of matchups. Like the deck really can like pressure a lot with the boards they set up, and the fact that the boards are so well balanced. Like to out a full board you need like, I don't know, especially if they're like setting up, I don't know, there's not really an Omnis at the moment, so I suppose even is the exception. But like if you have like Lightning Storm, choosing monsters or back row is quite difficult. And obviously right now they're also on the DPE Scythe stuff.
Yes.
So it's like even more degenerate. So just pop a Scythe and you don't get to play anyway. So you want a balanced board. It's like you need quick play interruption, you need back row removal, and you need monster destruction. Like very, very strong deck.
Yeah, and if you leave pretty much anything in the graveyard, it's like
and the
full combo next year. It's
must
crazy.
Be the strongest turn 2 deck in the game.
Yes.
Like, it's like got a full hand inside the graveyard when it starts resolving the next turn. Like everything just goes again.
Yeah.
So definitely another deck that's definitely respectable. I think it gets a big bump when the Brave stuff comes out. And I think at that point you'll see it like at the top of the tier 1. Probably like bumping off some other decks, like super good. Like in the OCG, it's dominating. Like it's definitely their best deck. Again, different format. Like there's a lot of stuff they have and we don't have, but like yeah, they're definitely a deck to watch out for.
Mm. And then obviously we spoke about Drytron.
Yeah, it's come a bit in this conversation.
Yeah, quite a bit. But then obviously number 8 was Live Twins. There was only 2, but it was number 8.
We were out there rapping. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of like made better choices with with my like the deck profiles up on my channel. If you guys want to go check it out, I don't want to go through everything here because it'll take like a
definitely
lot of
check
time,
the deck profile out for Byron's deck. The deck was nuts. The deck was really nuts. It was crazy. Like fair enough, you have that the one pop and draw, but like paired up with the dogmaticas and stuff, the opponent end up basically going -3 every turn, and you going +2, and then over time, it's like there's no way for you to recover from that, like in turn 3 or something.
What the deck gives you is draws, and depending what those draws are, like your deck building is quite important with it, because whatever those draws are, need to be what beats your matchups. Like I said, I think I prepped really hard for a lot of the meta. I didn't respect Drytron enough. Like there's definitely 1 or 2 things that would have changed, but like overall the deck did really well, and in its own right, I think it's I wouldn't say it's tier 1, I wouldn't even say 1, it's probably tier 2, but like the cards you draw into are tier 1 cards. Like when you're busy drawing into like droplets or like lances or drolls or like whatever, like strong, powerful cards, it definitely puts in a lot of pressure. But yeah, cool. So I think that covers all the matchups of the day.